program. Not a lot of requirements other than you have to go and work for some time. So the processing time, this is probably after people ask me what a green card is and what are the requirements, they always ask me, how long will this take? And because everyone's excited, they're ready, they want to move tomorrow. But it is a process, and it does take some time. And I would say on average, it takes between 2 and 2.5 years. We've had clients that got approved in, a year and a half, close to a year. And we've had some that take a bit longer, but on average, it takes about 2.5 years from our experience over the last 10 years. But that's okay. That might sound like a long time, but time goes by fast, especially when you're going to want to start planning for your move too. Especially if you have a family or children. You're going to want to think about how you're going to move to America, the schools the kids will go to. If you have a husband or wife, they're going to maybe start looking for jobs. So there's a lot of preparation because you do have to move to America and go to work. So it is a kind of a permanent, excuse me, it is a relocation to the US. Now, you don't have to live in the US forever. You're still free to go back to your home country and visit and even, go back and spend and live in your home country and visit the US. So you're free to travel, you don't have to live in the US forever, permanently. So, you are free to travel. But let's just talk a little bit about this 2.5-year process. So let's say, at the end of this presentation, you decide this is the right program for me. So you contact Ms. Tom and you say, I want to sign up today. And so what we would do, we work together. I personally have an office in Vietnam and live in Vietnam most of the time. I'm in America right now. But, what we would do is we'd gather up, just go here. We'd collect some of your documents, and we do like your work history a bit and a little bit about yourself, some of your personal information. We'd also ask you to make a 1-minute introduction video of yourself, speaking in English, that just kind of tells about your background, why you want to work in America, and what you hope to do. Now, don't let this video scare you, and especially if your English is not perfect. It's just really a way to introduce you to the company and to us also. And it's a good first step. So we do that in the first week or 2 weeks, gather your documents, help you make a video, and we help you. This time will help you quite a lot. Help you make this short video, and we present it to the company in the US, and they decide if they have a position for you and they would like to sponsor you. Because remember, this company in the US, they're taking a chance too. I mean, they're spending several $1,000s on you to come to the US. So, just make a short video with them and introduce yourself. So after that, you'll get a job offer, and then we begin the immigration process. And so let's say it takes about a month to do that first step. Make your video, gather your documents, we complete some forms, you get a job offer. And then at that point, we will work with our partners to file what's called a labor certificate with the US Department of Labor. And what this does is the US Department of Labor, it's a government agency, will do background checks on the company, and they'll say, okay, this company does need foreign workers and does qualify. It's a real company. And they'll also do a bit of background on you, like you're a real person who's going to come and work for this company. And usually about after 6 months, they'll approve you. They'll give you a labor certificate saying it's okay for this company to employ you, and it's okay for you to work at this company. That's the first big step. And it's always a nice feeling when you get that labor certificate. At that point, then we start on the immigration process, which is your application or your petition for the green card. So once you have approval to work, you need a green card to work legally. So we start applying for your green card. And this process will take a bit longer. This is when we gather your family's documents also, so your husband, your wife's documents, your children's documents, birth certificates, marriage licenses, these sorts of personal documents. And we submit this to the U.S. Immigration and Citizenship Services, and that will take probably about a year to get an approval. That's typically about how long it takes, about 11, 12 months to get that approved. So in Washington, D.C., in America, they approve you, and they send you a letter saying you are approved for your green card. But you have to do one more thing. You have to go to the U.S. consulate, either in your home country or the country where you happen to be living. So, if your home country is Indonesia and you're living in Indonesia, then you would go to the U.S. consulate or embassy in Indonesia. But say if you're Vietnamese and you're living in Singapore and you have a work permit or a residency card in Singapore, you could do your interview in Singapore. You would not have to travel back to your home country. So there's a bit of flexibility. You basically do the interview wherever you're currently living. And the interview is quite short. They typically take less than 10 minutes. It's really the visa officer asks you basic questions to make sure you understand what you're doing, that you are going to America to work, and that who the company is that you're going to work for, what your job's going to be, and that a little bit about the location. And they just want to make sure that you really understand what you're doing. And and they'll ask you to say that you are interested in working for this company, and you're making a permanent commitment to this company, that you're very serious. So all that will take 12 to 15 months. So the process comes in about 2 years, 2.5 years, and it really does go fast. I know every day you'll be checking your email to see if you got your approval letter, but 2 years goes fast. So, and then once you get approved at the U.S. consulate, you do have 180 days to travel to the U.S. I usually recommend that people go as soon as possible. Just a good idea to travel, and because once you actually go to America, I always say, when your toes touch the ground in America, that's when you actually become a permanent resident. Even if you get your visa in Indonesia, you become a permanent resident when you land in America. And it's a very nice experience. I've helped people through this. When we land in America and we get to immigration, and the immigration officer says, "Oh, wow, okay, you're welcome. You're a permanent resident. Come with me." And you can be very happy that when they ask you to come with you this time, that it's for good reasons. So, and basically they just take you aside, and you have to fill out a form saying that you are a permanent resident, and you have to have an address where they will send your actual green card. You don't get the green card when you land, but they mail it to you usually after about a month. So that's it. And then you and your family are permanent residents. For example, your family could even go back to their home country right away. Now you need to stay and work for the company. You have a job, but your family could even return home at that point. But it's nice if they can stay and start the life with you. So about 2.5 years, you land in America and you're permanent residents. Okay, so that is really, the EB3 process. So again, we talked about what a green card is. We talked about what EB3 is. It's an unskilled worker green card, permanent residency. And we talked a bit about the process. It takes about 2.5 years. So, imagine 2.5 years ago. That seems just like yesterday to you, but in 2.5 years, you could be a U.S. permanent resident, and on a pathway to citizenship if you'd like. If you live in the U.S. for 5 years, or after 5 years of being a permanent resident, you can become a U.S. citizen also. Okay, so that is a basic introduction to the program. I'm sure you're going to have a lot more questions and detailed questions. And please hold on to those, or write them in the chat group, and we can answer them later. But now I'm going to get to what I think is always the most exciting part, the part of the presentation that everybody wants to know about. What is the job? And what am I going to do? And how much money am I going to make? And where will I live? The real things, the fun stuff. So we currently have a job. We work with a very large company with locations around America. But right now they have job offers in the state of Indiana, which is in the middle of America, right here. It's maybe 4 hours driving to New York, 4 or 5, maybe a little more. Just a couple hours from Chicago. So it's just right in the middle of America. Let me bring up some more information about it. Let's see. Sorry. All right, let me share my screen again. So Indianapolis is, has been over the years. It's a middle-sized city in America, but it's a very important city in America. It has about 1 million people. Again, it's located in the middle of America, and over the past 200 years, it's been a center for manufacturing. So this is a working person's town. There's been a lot of factories, a lot of manufacturing going on there of all different types. Today, there's a lot of pharmaceutical companies there, medical companies. It's very popular for that. But it's, with that, this is a working person city. So people are very welcoming and they respect, people who move there to work because they're all working too. So, you'll have a lot of respect from people who live there. It's a very open-minded place. And they tend to welcome outsiders quite a lot. So it should be a nice place to settle down and live with your family. It's also got one of the best school systems in America. If you have children and you're thinking about it, not only at the younger age, but also at the university. It's got some really great universities.
Sorry, could you please explain your side, please?
Let me see if I can.
Kyron is on this presentation.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, if you could mute, please. Yeah, so Indianapolis is just a great city. It's got great sports teams. If you like basketball, the Indiana Pacers are usually one of the top teams. If you like race car driving, it's got the only what do you call a Formula One race in America, the Indianapolis 500. It's got a great football team, American football team, and it's just at a great university. It's just a really nice place. It's got 4 seasons, so if you're from a country that doesn't have snow, you'll get to experience snow, and it's actually kind of nice. I've been experiencing snow in America for the last couple months, and it's nice actually. So that's Indianapolis, and I think it's important to think about the place you're moving, because you work 8 hours a day, and the other 16 hours of the day is you're living in a place, and your children are going to school, so you want to be in a place that your family can be happy and safe, right? That's the other thing. It's a very safe place. It really is a family sort of community where they value families. All right. So what is the job then? We decided it's in a very nice place, in a very nice small city. The job is, again, these are manufacturing and warehouse jobs. So again, they don't require a lot of skill, but also they're not hard labor. You're not going to break your back or have to do really dirty, heavy labor, or cut up chickens, or there's EV3 jobs out there where you do that are very, very difficult jobs. But this is it's work, but it's not that difficult. You can see these are actual pictures from the location. You can see it's very clean, light manufacturing. At this particular place, they make books and they send books out. So you'd be helping kind of put actual books. Remember those before the internet? People read books. You're making books and putting them in boxes, sending them out. So, your job could be anything from putting books in boxes and sealing the box, to doing inventory, to taking orders and finding the book, putting it in a box and moving it forward. And again, I like to tell this story about, this is your first job in America, not the only job you'll ever have. So we had a client from Vietnam a couple years ago, and she was the equivalent of well, she was an accountant, kind of the equivalent in America of a chartered accountant. So she was a highly skilled, educated lady, but she took a chance and decided she's going to make a sacrifice from her career to do something for her family. That she said, okay, I'll go work in a factory for a couple of years because it's going to give my children access to America, education, and their futures can change. But after only a month or so working at this warehouse, she was talking to the manager, and she was telling him about her background, and he goes, "Wow, you're an accountant. That's great." He said, "Do you think you could be an accountant here at this company?" And she, well, I don't know, I guess so. So, they talked about it, and they realized that, she'd be a very good fit to work in the office, and became the company accountant. So I tell this story because what I'm saying is that you're not locked to one job. And in America, things are very open, and you can change jobs. And when the company finds that you have certain skills, they can use those skills. And, one thing very special about America is that it does allow people who work hard to move up and do a lot better. So, in this case, you're starting out as a helper and a production worker. So, kind of working on an assembly line or putting books in boxes. But that doesn't mean you're going to be doing that forever. If you work hard and you show up all the time, I think after 6 months or 1 year, you would probably become a manager, a shift manager, and then become a full manager in the warehouse. And there's a good chance you could go on to work at the executive level. Now, but where you are starting at is at a basic entry level job. And these jobs, actually, what's going on in America right now, and we should mention this job will pay a lot more. I would say it probably pays at least $30,000 a year now. Another reason it's a really good time to apply for EB-3 right now is because there's a massive labor shortage in America. Companies cannot find enough workers, especially in the unskilled areas. So, I said that I am in America right now. Every store I go into, every restaurant I go into, every person I know who owns a factory says we cannot find enough workers. There are not enough workers. It doesn't matter even how much they pay them, they can't find the workers. So the US government recognizes that there is a big problem. If you don't have workers, you can't produce things, and then you can't have a good economy. So this is a good time to be applying for the EB-5 visa right, or I said the EB-3 visa right now, because it's I think they're going to try to process them quickly and get workers into the country as soon as possible. So anyway, even though you're starting out, I would say probably around 30,000. I think if you worked hard, you went to work every day, after 6 months, 8 months, you'd probably be making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000. And as far as the job goes, it does have medical insurance. So after you work there for 30 days, you do get medical insurance. There are 3 shifts. So you work a day shift, an afternoon, evening shift, or a late night shift. So it's just kind of a working job, and it's a good opportunity for you to move to America. And even if it's not your perfect dream job, it could turn into one. There's a lot of opportunity. Or you can spend a year or two getting to know America, and start thinking about your future also, about what maybe you want to start a business in America. So you have those opportunities. So that is the information about the job and the location. So I always find that's the question, almost the number one question that people ask me. And then, but we save the final most important question till last, and that is, how much will this cost? You know, I know everyone is now waiting for that. You know, what will the cost of this process be? We know how long it takes. We know what the job is like. We know the location, and we know the benefits. But what will the cost be? The cost will be